Hey, I'm Jeff Straw. Welcome to the channel. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch a video with me. Today I'm going to share with you part one of my series, Branding and Beyond, which I recorded at MusicExpo in San Francisco. If you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell. Thanks so much. Hey! MusicExpo 2019! How's MusicExpo been for you so far?
The best thing I've ever done in my life.
Oh, can you hear that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. Hey, brother. Right on. Thanks, dude. What's up?
Perfect. That's perfect. Let's go with this.
So yeah, just like videos like that, you don't have to do it.
You're making those 5 drums. You're putting into that drum lesson. If you've got this much kick, this much snare, this much hi-hat, this much overhead, this much overhead, what happens when you put this much information times 5 in a glass that's exactly this size? You throw away all of that stuff you're trying to.
I've been a part of MusicExpo for the last 3, maybe 4 years. I've attended and spoken at all of the San Francisco events. So, hi, I'm Jeff Straw. I do a lot of different things. What we're going to talk about today is music and branding, and a lot of photography, and kind of how your visual brand, why it's important as a musician, why it's important as an artist. If you were here last year, hey, thank you. Oh, you guys are the best. If you were here last year, there's definitely a little bit of overlap, but there's a lot of new stuff in here as well. But if you were here last year and you really want to go see Decap, I won't be offended if you get up and go now, because I want to go see, anyways, that's fine. So yeah, Jeff Straw, Branding and Beyond, that's me. That's one of the all-time favorite pictures I've ever had taken of me, and it shows you why photography is so damn important, because when I was doing my new YouTube channel, finding a shot that you could crop like this and put as a YouTube banner is not easy, as you guys know if you have a YouTube channel. And this one looks pretty fucking sexy. Also, I curse a lot, so if that's gonna bother you also, you can leave in the next 30 seconds. And yeah. First and foremost, this is more for me than you guys to not take myself too seriously. But it also applies to all of you. Like, I think that a lot of us get bogged down in the, like, I'm an artist, and it's so important that I'm a fucking artist. With that being said, let's get into it. So today what we're going to talk about are some of these, although not all of them, but these are really what I consider to be the visual components of your brand. It's not rocket science to figure some of these out, but it is good to see them all on paper. Photography, your album artwork, your merchandise, your fashion or your look, and as well as things like your videos, your stage performance, your logo, and your online presence. My background, before we get into this, just to give you guys an idea of like why the hell I'm up here. I've had about 25 years in the music business, doing everything from, I was a record buyer at Virgin Records downtown San Francisco, and I did all the dance music and all the vinyl. If you ever bought a record there that was decent, it was probably because of me. Then I went to Ingrooves and I was the director of licensing there. I did all the film and TV licensing. I also did all the YouTube monetization towards the end of my career there. I was there for almost a decade, and that's a digital distributor. So if you don't know anything about Ingrooves, they're like The Orchard or TuneCore or CD Baby. Then I went to a company called Focus at Will. We do neuroscience music for Focus. It's kind of nerdy, but it's really cool if you ever want to check it out. And most recently, I was at a company called Pure Mind, which is a very similar place to SAE. It's over in San Francisco, as their director of marketing and music business teacher. And 2 years ago, I jumped ship and said, see ya, I'm doing my own thing, and started this branding company. But I'm really passionate about visual branding, and I'm passionate about seeing the results of somebody looking at the photos I did of them, and they're like, holy shit, this, like, I love this. How did you make me look so cool? Like, that moment is why I do what I do. So we're gonna look through a lot of my photography and a lot of like why it matters. It's not just a show and tell on Jeff's photo collection, although it might feel like that sometimes. I apologize if that's what it feels like, but hopefully not. So I think we're gonna watch a bunch of check marks on the screen. No, I probably should have done that earlier. Okay, so here we go. So, but before we get into photography and like what we're doing in the visual brand, it's really important that artists, DJs, producers, anybody goes through these exercises to really define your brand. This is an artist called Kins, by the way, who was a student of mine. She moved to LA and is kicking ass down there, and this is a photo shoot we did before she left. So what are your core principles and values, like as a human being as well as an artist? And hopefully those kind of line up, right? Like if your artist persona is that much different than like what you are in real life, then you have a problem with what's called authenticity, right? And being authentic, we hear time and time again at panels like this. What are your short-term and long-term goals? That has a lot to do with your path, more so maybe than your visual brand, but it is important for you to get some concrete answers around like where do I want to be in 6 months, where do I want to be in 5 or 6 years? What inspired you to become an artist? Especially early on, I think that's really good to not lose touch with, but even if you've been doing this for a long time and you haven't had a whole lot of success, you're still grinding out in like Tuesday night bar gigs or whatever, you're still doing opening slots at the coffee shop or whatever that looks like, sometimes it's hard to remember why you started doing this in the first place. So when you do some of these branding exercises, it's good to get in touch with like that inner you that really decided to do music as a career in the first place, or really to try and share the music that you write with other people. Why do you want to offer your music to your fans? And what makes you unique? So those two, you don't have to come up with an entirely new genre just to put out a record. That's not what I mean by unique, but your personal spin should be on it, and you should be creating art for the sake of creating art that you want to be involved with, not because you think it will chart or that you think it will be cool. More questions that you can ask yourself to define your brand. What's your sense of style? Good gravy, I like that picture. She was a DJ that wasn't even booked at this festival that I was at, but looks like we set up a model shoot, and that was just walking down the hallway, and the wind and the light was all just perfect. So clearly a pretty good sense of personal style, right? What is that for you? Is it all black metal bands, Slayer hats? It's like half my vibe. Know what is your sense of style both on stage and off? What should come to mind when somebody hears your name, not like your name, but the name of your artist? Like, what is that first reference point that you want people to come up with in their mind? You can't necessarily make them think that, but if you had your way, what would that be? Is that a sense of positivity and happiness? Is it like fear and fucking metal? Is it like, I don't know what you make, but as long as it's authentically you, then we're on to something here, right? Another great shot. How do you want people to feel when they hear and see your music? So not only what should come to mind, like maybe you're known for your bass lines and your melodies or something, and then what are those feelings, right? It's very hand in hand. And lastly, how do you want them to describe your music? So what's the big takeaway? Like, if somebody was going to tell another friend about you, your band, your artist act, how are they going to describe it?